The Coca-Cola company owes a large part of its success as a result of the long-standing relationship that we have had with the creative industries. We take Cannes very seriously, and we come to Cannes for two reasons, really. The first is to learn and be inspired by some of the finest minds in the industry. And the second is in the hope that we can share some of our thinking with you guys to create a dialogue to build our confidence that we're heading in the right direction in an ever-changing media connections and consumer landscape. A year ago, Joe Tripodi, who is the CMO of the Coca-Cola company, stood on this very stage and revealed our new marketing communications platform called Liquid and Linked. Content 2020, how the Coca-Cola company will evolve its approach to the marketing agenda on its key brands. We will move from creative excellence to content excellence. Chapter 1. How does content excellence approach liquid and linked content development? Well, the purpose of content excellence is to create ideas that are so contagious they cannot be controlled. We call this liquid, and these ideas are so innately linked to our business objectives, our brand agendas, and consumer interests. We call this linked. And through the stories we tell, we'll provoke conversations that will earn our brands a disproportionate share of popular culture. So the conversation model that we have developed starts with our brand stories. And these brand stories create liquid and linked ideas. And these liquid and linked ideas will provoke conversation. And we need to be seen to act and react to those conversations 365 days a year. Chapter 2, the case for change. Well, we've observed three key drivers of change. The first is that we intend to double the size of our business in the next 10 years. That's a lot of incremental extra servings. And secondly, we have observed a distribution of creativity. No one now has the smarts on creative ideas. And in fact, consumer-generated stories outnumber Coca-Cola company-generated stories on most of our brands. So we really need to fuel both of these truths. And then the often talked about distribution of technology. We now have greater consumer empowerment than ever before. And this has driven an on-demand culture where consumers can turn their demands on 24 hours a day. The great news is that technology is a brilliant creative enabler, and we need to get better at developing ideas when we cannot separate the technology from the idea itself. And we were inspired last year at Cannes by the brilliant work from 12 Force, Tipex, the way that IKEA leverages Facebook, and even the way that the Golf GTI used the iPhone to create deep, immersive stories and experiences for the Golf GTI. So we need to integrate technologists into our core creative teams, and we need to develop stronger relationships directly with the technology industry. Chapter 3, the evolution of storytelling. So what are these drivers doing to storytelling? Well, for the Coca-Cola company, we need to move from one-way storytelling to something that we call dynamic storytelling. So what's the definition of dynamic storytelling? Well, it's the development of incremental elements of a brand idea that get dispersed through different channels of conversation, but in a unified and coordinated brand experience. And I guess the purpose of content excellence will be to behave like a ruthless editor. Otherwise, we run the risk of just creating noise in the marketplace. So we need to develop system-wide capabilities in dynamic storytelling. And Pio will illustrate in a moment how they're using different types of storytelling to engage with teams, from serial storytelling to multifaceted storytelling to spreadable storytelling and to immersive and discovery storytelling, and also engagement through storytelling. Now, we must remember that storytelling is at the heart of all families, communities, and cultures. And it's something that the Coca-Cola company has done well for the last 125 years. Chapter 4. Baking Live Positively, our sustainability agenda, into our storytelling plans. So at the Coca-Cola Company, all of our brand stories start with a thing that we call the BVA. And each BVA has to illustrate clearly how each of the brands is positioning himself as a cultural leader. We now need to start telling our Live Positively story through the lens of the brands directly to consumers. It's not only a responsibility, it's also an exciting creative opportunity. Who in the world wouldn't want to be associated with the Nike Girl Effect campaign? Awesome creative work that is driving significant and purposeful cultural change. So for the Coca-Cola Company, our powerful position in the world affords us the opportunity and the responsibility to ensure that our brands succeed in making the world a truly better place. And all employees have to integrate the Live Positively principles into our daily lives, activities and operations. Chapter 5, From Insights to Provocations, the big, fat, fertile, creative brief. So the next area of evolution is moving from insights to provocations. Why? Well, simply put, we need bigger thinking at the heart of our creative briefs. Working with our partners in knowledge and insights, we've observed that some of our insights lead to small, incremental thinking, and what we need are provocations that are going to lead to bigger transformational actions. So how do we get to provocations? Well, we get to provocations through data. Data will become the new soil, soil in which our ideas will grow, and data whisperers will become the new messiahs. Once we have these provocations, they will take us to a liquid and linked creative brief. Now, as I've said, a liquid and linked creative brief must have a big, fat, fertile space at the core. Now, we will get to that fertile space through mining business data, objectives, communication challenges, through mining our brand spacing work, through collaborating with internal and external collaborators, and most importantly, through collaborating directly with consumers. So we really need to lean into online conversation, a proper conversation, not just online listening. So the Coca-Cola Company have developed a number of proprietary tools, from immersion safaris, community space and Connect. And it's vital that we partner with our team in Connections to ensure dramatically different creative briefs that exploit the dramatically changing Connections ecosystem. But remember, for the Coca-Cola Company, our creative briefs need to have a big, fat, fertile space at the core. Chapter 6, Developing Liquid Content. So we have a storytelling definition of the content, and that is the creation of stories that are to be expressed through every relevant connection. But for the Coca-Cola Company, each of these stories has to add value and significance to people's lives. Why? Well, it's the substance or matter of brand engagement and brand conversation.